Hey everyone, this is Kimmy. I am Mama on a Mission. I am a 14-year online reseller currently who sells on eBay, Poshmark, Depop, and whatnot. Now, suddenly, in the last month, today I'm going to be talking about this Poshmark shipping situation. If you are a Poshmark seller or you've thought about selling on Poshmark, you definitely want to listen to these updates. For as long as I have been a reseller, shipping updates are just part of the game. If you go into my playlists on my YouTube channel, I have like a reseller news and updates tab. And I always do try to cover some of these updates and just give my perspective, what the information means to me or to you as a seller or buyer. And this has just always been part of the game. And usually that's what I say in my videos, especially like priority mail updates, when we like twice a year shipping goes up from USPS, and I always just say it's just kind of the name of the game. But this Poshmark change is a really interesting one to me, and if you already know about this and you already have a perspective or an opinion, I would love to hear it. These changes always give a lot of varying opinions and perspectives, which is always interesting. And sometimes they get a little sassy. Try not to get sassy about it. I mean, hey, you do whatever you want to do. But I always like hearing everyone's perspective. And already on this Poshmark update, I have been hearing a whole lot of different opinions. So let me know what you think. If you're a reseller on Poshmark and you've already heard of this Poshmark change, let me know. Because this just happened. So this video is going to go out on Tuesday, September 9th. This announcement from Poshmark came out yesterday, September 8th, 2025. And ironically enough, I did a video and posted it yesterday. And I talked about how much I love the priority mail Poshmark shipping. So by the time my video came out last night, there were already people commenting about the new Poshmark changes. Because I was like, oh, I love Poshmark shipping. I love that we get to use their priority mail boxes and it's so easy. I love shipping shoes in priority mail. So that just randomly changed, and I honestly did not expect that. I got the comments, I read through all of the articles, and like normal, I wrote down a whole bunch of notes so that we can have a really short discussion about what's happening. The big thing, the big announcement, I have all the announcements here. There's a couple different blog posts from Poshmark, some Q&A, like question and answer pages that they have attached to this. And their big announcement says on their blog, lower shipping starting September 12th. And that is true. Poshmark is lowering the cost of shipping for their buyers. And this is happening like in 3 days. The announcement came out yesterday, September 8th. Today is September 9th. The changes happened September 12th, which is Friday. September 12th, all this goes into effect, which was one of my first things was, geez, that is like a very quick change and turnaround. In part of their blog post, they said that due to contract details, they were not allowed to announce this until September 8th. So somewhere in there between USPS and Poshmark, there was some red tape that said, you can't tell anyone about this until September 8th, even though it goes into effect September 12th. And that is kind of a fast change, and change is hard. These changes, people always have opinions about these changes. And when it's that fast, people are going to it's an abrupt change. So that I will say, they did address it, and, what are you going to do? The biggest part about this is, one, it is getting cheaper, which is great for our customers. Two, though, is it's no longer priority mail. You cannot use priority mail boxes, poly mailers, anything, starting September 12th. So, of course, people were like, I just got all these. You guys should see how many priority mail boxes I have. Which, for me, it's not a huge deal because I do use priority mail on eBay and now on Whatnot. So I'll get through the boxes. It's not a huge deal for me. But for people who only ship on Poshmark with priority mail, that is one negative that they're talking about, is they have a ton of boxes. You can give them back if you have them still in a full ream. or keep them just in case, or they say recycle them on their blog. But that's the biggest thing, is no more priority mail. So for years and years that I've sold on Poshmark, it's always a priority mail box, and they provide them to you for free. This is actually a priority mail going out today, the Tyvek shipping envelope. And that is one thing that I liked about priority mail with Poshmark, was I used their boxes, their poly mailers. This is a Tyvek mailer. They had padded rate envelopes. You could use any of those things besides Express in order to ship your Poshmark orders. If you use priority mail boxes after this date, after September 12th, there is going to be a $5 per package fee. That's according to Poshmark. What is the cost going from? The lower cost, right now it costs buyers $8.27 to make an order purchase on Poshmark, and that's up to 5 pounds. It's going from $8.27 to $6.49, and still up to 5 pounds. Now, to me, that's a great price. $6.49 for up to 5 pounds shipping. I mean, I ship packages all the time. Not priority mail, that's a little bit heavier, like 15 ounces going to California, and it could easily cost me $6.49. To get up to 5 pounds for $6.49 is a fantastic price. And if I'm being honest, I thought $8.27 was still very reasonable for up to 5 pounds. The problem with it was a lot of us are just selling things that are less than a pound, and you could, send it cheaper. So that was always the caveat is, well, I'm selling jewelry, and $8.27 for a couple pieces of jewelry is kind of expensive. And it is. But that's how Poshmark does their shipping. It's a flat rate up to 5 pounds. Boom. Doesn't matter if it's 5 ounces or 2 pounds, 3. Anything up to 5 pounds is this flat rate cost. And it's now going to go down to $6.49. And honestly, I think that's a great price. I think that'll be great for our customers. It's a very reasonable shipping price for these days. I don't really have, much to say. I think it's great that they made an attempt to and are implementing a lower cost shipping. They stated that it's their lowest cost since 2017, which is 8 years. That's a long time. So this is their lowest shipping price in 8 years. So the caveat to that is all Poshmark shipments are now going ground advantage. So priority mail, what we've known for so many years on Poshmark, it's out the door. Boop. In the matter of 3 days. Boop. Done. We're now going to ground advantage. Now, you can use your own poly mailers, which you could use your own poly mailers before. You didn't have to put it in a priority mail bag, but it made sense because these are free supplies. I ship things in my poly mailers all the time, and that will still continue to be the case. But here's the good thing, is somehow, this is kind of huge. Poshmark worked with USPS to make free ground advantage shipping supplies for Poshmark sellers only. And that's honestly huge. That really tells me that Poshmark is doing enough volume as far as shipping via USPS to negotiate with them and work with them to have a special ground advantage packaging materials for us Poshmark sellers. That's honestly huge. I mean, I obviously don't know what numbers they have as far as how many packages and, what the benefit to USPS is, but it must be enough that they worked with them to create these free ground advantage shipping supplies to just Poshmark sellers. Now, you have to call a phone number right now. So that's the interesting part. I'm going to call maybe today. People are saying that the lines are down. They're getting overrun with calls. They probably are. If I had another phone, I'd call right now so we could see what happens together, but I don't have another phone. That would have been fun. But I'm going to call today and see what happens. And maybe I'll have to do an update on it later. If I had another phone call, I'd put it on speaker and we could go through it right now. There's a phone number in the blog that says who you have to call, 1-800-610-8734. And you have to give your closet information to them and request free Ground Advantage shipping supplies. What are they going to look like? I have no idea. I have never had Ground Advantage or first class shipping supplies. They've never supplied those ever in my experience, from my knowledge. So this is a brand new thing, and it's specifically for Poshmark. And I think that speaks volumes about the amount of mail that Poshmark is doing through USPS. And I think that's awesome. And if you don't want to call that number, use your own. Where can you buy your own boxes? I mean, if you were just doing a lower volume, there's even like Walmart. There's like cheap Walmart boxes. I order some of mine from the eBay shipping supply because it's an eBay store, the eBay shipping supply store, because I get a coupon with my eBay store, and they do offer pretty good prices on boxes, but they're eBay branded. That's the thing. My other thing is, if you have a business, like you are a registered business, you could go through places like Uline. That's a gigantic shipping supply company, and I have ordered from them before. And they are very efficient, and basically the most affordable cost you're going to be able to get in bulk boxes and shipping supplies. Uline. Otherwise, I reuse like my Amazon boxes. There's nothing wrong with recycling, in my opinion. If I order something off of Amazon or even Walmart.com or whatever, and I get these little boxes, as long as they're not, they don't look like they got thrown through a shredder and thrown around the back of a box truck, I will reuse those. So I save my Amazon boxes. My kids even know when we get things, if it's a nice box. That's where I'm at in my life, you guys. I save my nice boxes. Another idea, you guys, is if you have any connections to a Dollar General, Dollar Tree, or even a local grocery store, in the past, managers have been, I have worked with managers many years ago that would save some of their boxes. Like they would just save like a whole carton full for me, and I would just come and get them. I'm not saying that's going to work for you or if they even still do that, but it used to be a thing way back in the day. There's probably a lot more red tape around that kind of stuff, so maybe that's not really a thing anymore. But so there you have it. Let's keep this short as possible. You guys know I like to talk. For me, what I have is change is always hard. But honestly, there's nothing we can do about this. I say this in almost all of my shipping videos, it is what it is. And to me, it really isn't a bad thing, because the cost is going down, which is nearly unheard of. Nothing goes down in price anymore in the last 10 years. So that is a huge positive. And this is what we have going on, and we have to roll with it. The negatives that I'm seeing from people is that they have a ton of boxes and shipping supplies. What are they going to do with them? What should they do with them? I get it. You have to remember, and I'm even going to have to remember, you can't use priority mail anymore starting on Friday for Poshmark. You can't, or you're going to get a fee, $5 fee per package. And since I've always just done priority mail that way, or Poshmark, I will have to remember. Hopefully this old brain remembers. And Poshmark kind of addressed the fact that priority mail typically says 1 to 3 days shipping time, and Ground Advantage is 2 to 5. So technically, according to that information provided by USPS, it could be another day or two shipping in as far as the time goes, which could be a con, like a negative, but honestly, shipping, sometimes I get USPS alerts that's like, your item is, we're sorry, but there's a delay in your shipping. And I look on Poshmark, and my Wisconsin package going to Illinois is out in California. Hello? What's happening here? And if you get a real good one, like where you're like, it keeps giving you updates on it's lost somewhere, and I get, they go through millions of packages. It's going to happen. But it's funny. I'm like, I'm tracking some of these packages and trying to tell my customers, hey, I don't have any control over what they're doing with your package right now. But it went from Wisconsin to Atlanta to California, back to Texas, and then over here. Some of them, like especially in holiday time, if you get a real good one or a real bad one, really, it's kind of interesting to see, like, how did my package end up way over there, and it takes like, more than normal to get there. We have to give them some grace. They ship thousands, millions of packages. It's gonna happen on occasion, hopefully less, Is it frustrating? You're darn right. When my customer's like, where's my package? And I'm like, I don't know. I threw it in the mailbox and I don't have any control. After that, it's out of my control. I don't know what to say. Those situations are difficult, and I get them, not a lot, but I do get them on occasion, and I get yelled at, and I'm like, you want me to drive to Texas to the post office down there and see if I can find it for you? I don't know what to say. Is it frustrating? 100% for you and me, for both of us, because I don't want that to happen either, but there's really nothing we can do about it. And sometimes that's kind of my perspective, is I can't change it. But honestly, this is good. I feel like my perspective as far as where everyone is going to be on as far as the different sides, is it good? Is it bad? I would say I'm a little bit more towards the good side, primarily because the cost is going down. That is nearly unheard of, and hopefully will encourage our customers to maybe purchase more or be more open to making purchases, because the cost is going down by, gosh, do your math, Kim, $1.80? Where's my calculator? Like $1.60, $1.70, almost $1.79, somewhere in there. So that's a pretty big decrease in cost to our customers, and that's fantastic. Hopefully that will do something, bring more customers in, encourage. So now we can advertise only $6.49 cost of shipping. That's fantastic. The bad part is a lot of us have a bunch of USPS priority mailboxes. The shipping might be a smidge slower. Change is always hard, and we have to remember to not use these the priority mail shipping supplies, because in a couple days it's no longer allowed and we will get a fee for it. So change is hard. I get it. I'm going to call this number and see what they say. It says you have to call and give them verify your closet information. So I don't know how that's going to go with them. And they will, I don't know, send me some packages, like some boxes to use for this new Ground Advantage. There it is. New change for Poshmark shipping. No more priority mail. This goes in effect in a couple days, 9/12, this Friday, 2025. You can no longer use priority mail. You have to use your own boxes or your own poly mailers, or you have to call this number and get whatever supplies that they're going to be giving to us, which I think is kind of cool. We'll see how that goes. And the cost is going down for our customers, which I think is a positive. Let me know what you think. That's the update. That's what's going on. I have all the verbiage right here. I read through it all. Frequently asked questions. It still is up to 5 pounds. You still can upgrade if it's over 5 pounds. Insurance is still included. A lot of these things aren't changing. The main thing is it's going from priority mail to Ground Advantage. We can't use those boxes anymore. It says the reason why we're doing this is a verbiage right off the site, says USPS recently announced another industry-wide rate increase on priority mail. Happens at least once or twice a year. With input from our sellers and a shared goal of keeping shipping accessible, we partnered with USPS to find a better path forward. And the result is a new lower shipping rate that benefits both our buyers and our sellers. So that is, and that's what's happening. So there you have it. Shipping is getting cheaper. That's their big picture on this blog post. I will try to remember to put a link to a couple of these things so you can read them for yourself. Change is hard. I get it. We'll all get through this. I promise. I've gone through so many shipping changes in my almost 15-year online reseller career. It happens. We're going to do this. It's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. I promise. It'll be all right. So there it is. You guys let me know what you think. I'll be eager to listen to those comments, read those comments, because it's always fun to see how you guys feel. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.